the other in this show. We are adequate enough to speak for ourselves. And looking at these by-elections, we cannot just be looking at qualitative issues only around the entire by-election ecosystem. The main thing is quantitative, it's numbers. By now, we are talking about...
But discussing discussions on the accuracy of your quantitative accuracy is in question.
Allow me to make my comments.
Please do.
Yeah. So we are now talking about the voter turnout, how are the numbers, and what are the exit polls. You know, we must elevate our electoral system in Kenya, that we are able to make early projections on time, and we are able to get what is happening. So that we talk not only of administrative issues around elections, but we also talk about the numbers, why the numbers, but these are facts about Malava constituency. Malulu Injendi was a member of ANC, and ANC voluntarily chose to join Kenya Kwanza and be part of Kenya Kwanza to form government. And the people of Malava voted for Malulu in ANC, knowing that they were forming government. And when Malulu Injendi died, he was vice chair of Education Committee in the National Assembly. That's a fact. So people of Malava constituency knew they had a member of parliament who was part of the current government of Kenya, that is Kenya Kwanza. No people in Kenya vote to remain in the opposition. They vote to try and be part of the governance system of the country. And I don't think the story is any different in these by-elections. When Fuamba talked about the massive infrastructure program by the president, that's an agenda that will be voted for in the by-elections as well. Because people are not voting from the blues. People are voting based on the existing agendas of the different groups. In Malava, the DAP, they have their manifesto. And Kenya Kwanza and Broad-Based, for that matter, have their agenda. And one of them is the road infrastructure, which he talked about, which will be commissioned tomorrow by the president. When you look at, for the first time, dualling of the highway to Malava. It will take about 3 hours to travel from Nairobi to Malava. Dualling from Total to Kisumu. Dualling from Kericho to Esebania. And that will happen through the infrastructure master plan. Malibu is trying to bastardize the President's State of the Nation address. That State of the Nation underpinned economic revolution in this country. And getting the country to the first world is not just about road infrastructure. It is not just about electricity infrastructure, which will be done. It is not just about housing infrastructure, which is gaining traction. It is not just about ICT infrastructure, which is covering the country. It is not just about water infrastructure, which will be achieved. It will be about poverty reduction. You know, to say the first world, the measures and the indicators is around the economy and per capita income of an individual Kenyan. That then, the real measure will be poverty level and reduction of that poverty. Take, for example, Malaysia. I was there in 07. The poverty index in Malaysia was at 3%. And at that time, the poverty index in Kenya was at 48%, meaning in every 100, 48 persons in Kenya are living below poverty line. And when the president talks about the country living to the first world, it means almost everybody getting out of the poverty bracket. The 3% that we have in Malaysia are the Aborigines who have insisted on living their traditional life in forests, even when homes are built. Let me tell you, Malaysia, the first thing they ever did, because now they're in 13th Malaysian plan, in 07 they were in the 9th Malaysian plan. And by 07, all Malaysians had access to houses. A population of 16 million, and with close to 23 million tourists visiting Malaysia every year, almost every citizen, and several foreigners, millions, going in for jobs in Malaysia. And that's You know, when you talk about those numbers and those indicators, when you talk of moving to the first world, we must get into quantify numbers and what really shall have changed by that time. So it's not about just roads infrastructure and the rest. The road infrastructure that the president has outlined is implementation of the infrastructure programs extensively and successfully within 10 years, so that then other developmental programs can come in place. And the president has rightly projected by 2055 we should be in the first world. That means the poverty index in Kenya shall have been brought down to a single digit, if it is possible. Is it wrong for us to dream big and plan to remove poverty in this country? So the voters across in all the constituencies are listening to the master plan of the president. And so the voting will be aligned to the aspirations and the vision of the country and what the vision carrier is talking about. Whereas in Malava, there are a lot of domestic sibling wars, more than the national issues. Of course, it's about who is senior and who is what.
All right.
That is where the question of
which I want us to look at.
Upstage the influence of Mudavadi and Wetangula. But you can't. Those are the sitting leaders of the people of Western Kenya. They are the current vision carriers of the people of Western Kenya. And the people of Western Kenya are alive to that. That will play within Malava. But you see, in terms of numbers with respect to 2027 for presidential, it is already above the threshold.